And welcome into Talk of the Town here on Channel 57. Glad you decided to join us today. Got a real busy show for you, and one guy that we always like talking to is Greg Guion, who is here from Medical Art Prosthetics. So Greg, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, always like seeing you in because a lot of this stuff to me seems miraculous. So today we're talking anaplastology. How does that relate to the field of prosthetics, and what is anaplastology?
Yeah, prosthetics, people are more familiar with that term, obviously, and that's why we use it in the name of our company, is Medical Art Prosthetics, and it's a very broad, large, traditional field that deals with making prosthetic or artificial replacements for the body. Anaplastology is really kind of a small subset of prosthetic services that are kind of obscure in a way, and people often don't know what comprises anaplastology. So it's really like things like artificial noses, eyes, and ears, made out of silicone, and then some hand prosthetics, toe prosthetics, all the things for the human body that aren't like actual limbs, arms and legs or teeth. So that's anaplastology. Even breast prosthetics are sometimes considered anaplastology.
And I'm guessing that there's like specialties within that field. What areas do you specialize in?
I do specialize mostly in the facial prosthetics. So we call them orbital, nasal, and auricular prosthetics officially, but people know them as eyes, noses, and ears. I have some examples. This obviously is an example of an ear prosthesis so that people can get an idea what these things are. That's an ear prosthesis. This would be an example of a nasal prosthesis. Just kind of shows how that goes on the face, that it's not permanent. Orbital prosthetics look like this, artificial eye with the surrounding restoration. And then there's finger and hand prosthetics that we can make for people too. I have a few examples here that might kind of quickly illustrate how these things work before and after.
And some of those attachments work with magnets too, is that right?
That's right, they do, exactly. In this case, you can see someone needing a nasal prosthesis. There's the prosthesis itself, and then of course when it's in place, it looks very natural.
Wow.
So that's what anaplastology is really all about. Same with the orbital prosthesis. I'm going through these rather quickly.
Oh, it's so okay. Yeah, I mean, it's miraculous.
I want people to understand
the
what they are. That's the prosthesis, and then there's the person wearing their prosthesis, and I hope you're getting that. And then the ear, example of an ear prosthesis. And you can see the implants in that case, which are held on with magnetically. So here's this restoration. That's basically what types of anaplastology I specialize in.
Incredible. So now if someone who is thinking about getting a prosthesis or already has a prosthesis, maybe needs a new one or needs tweaking, how do they go about doing that?
It's difficult. I always tell people that they need to do their own research, go online, do a lot of research online, see a lot of examples of whoever the practitioner might be, their work. Because people do rely on referrals from their doctor or a doctor, and they have to respect that, obviously, but doctors are so busy, they can't always know where the best work, where the most qualified practitioners are, and who's specializing in this. So I always ask or recommend to patients that they do their own research. When they talk to practitioners, look for examples of actual before and after results so they can really know, where they're going to be comfortable.
Yeah, I think one of the amazing things that we have something like this and what you do in the city of Madison, where you don't have to go to Chicago or even to Milwaukee to do something like this. You do it right here. Where are your offices located?
Yeah, my office here in Madison has been here over 10 years now. It's the only dedicated facial and somatic prosthetics office of its kind in Dane County. I also do travel and work at Loyola in Chicago. At an office in Des Plaines. We have anaplastologists actually associated with Medical Art Prosthetics in California, New York, and in the original office in Dallas, Texas that I established back in 1985. Our colleague down there is Allison Vest. She runs the Dallas office.
Wow, so you've been doing
we get
this
around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's good. How can people, by the way, help out as far as like if they wanted to help you guys out with like donations, helping with people with prosthetics?
We're really not set up for donations. I'd be glad to do that at some point, but the work itself is so time-consuming. I'm always looking for anybody that has a special interest in this field, whether they be researchers, biomedical engineers, material scientists, marketing people, publicity people to help me get the word out.
Stuff to
even
to
medical
definitely,
device, the medical device industry.
Stuff to definitely check out. Greg, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all
Thank
out of
you.
time. We'll be right back with more on Talk of the Town. And back on Talk of the Town, and a couple gentlemen who are here right now who are familiar faces on the program. I haven't had the chance to interview them yet, so I'm kind of looking forward to this as we have Randy and Gary with Mark. So welcome on in, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. And I hear that you have a plan in place, I guess, for managing all of those boxes of old electronics that people have, like either in their closets or basement. What are we supposed to do with those?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Rich. It is great to be back. We absolutely have a solution for managing e-waste and offline computer equipment. We're proud members of the CyclePoint network from Source America. It's the largest growing network for managing e-waste in the country. So here's a little bit about how it works. If in your home or business you have computers, old laptops, flat monitors, printers, scanners, old business phone systems or personal phone systems, old cell phones, any of that equipment, even the cables that connect everything together, we can accept those items for you at no charge. Now, when you're going through and doing your spring cleaning, which a lot of people will be doing here shortly, and you come across some of those old tube televisions or tube monitors or even a flat screen that may be no longer working, we can accept those items for people as well and free up some of their space at their business or their home. We do have a small charge for that, but it keeps these items out of landfills here in our community.
Yeah, it seems like everybody has that, so that's a very needed service. So that's very nice indeed. How can people drop off their e-waste items?
Well, that's a great question. We have a collection drive coming up here later on in the month. It's for the community, and in specific, it's for Earth Day, a celebration of Earth Day. Our collection dates for that are going to be April 22nd from 4 to 7 p.m. That's a Friday night. And then on a Saturday on April 23rd from 9 till 2. That's going to be at our 805 Forward Drive location on the west side of Madison between Whitney and Gammon Road. An important thing for people to remember, if they can't make that collection drive, they can always drop things off during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 at that same location.
Okay. And tell our audience, I guess, a little bit too about the employees that you have that kind of take care of all of that and demanufacture the electronics, if you will.
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting aspect about this whole venture. It's a job creation effort that's geared towards creating employment opportunities for adults with disabilities to work in an integrated setting alongside people without disabilities. Our studies have shown that upwards of 70% of the folks with disabilities are either unemployed or underemployed, and we're just trying to narrow that gap.
Absolutely. So this seems like a pretty involved process. What are the biggest things that this process brings to the community?
Well, there's 4 things really. It brings security, it brings convenience, it's environmentally friendly. We're keeping, some of this equipment out of landfills. And the best thing of all, it really is creating employment opportunities for people with disabilities.
Gary, as long as we got you here, we got to talk to you too. Let's talk about the golf outing that Mark has coming up.
Golf outing is in June. It's June 7th. It's the 13th annual Golf Classic. It is at the Meadows of 6 Mile Creek in Wanakee. It's largely supported by the business community, although there's anybody and everybody can participate. It costs $125 for a golfer. 18 holes of golf, lunch in the cart, buffet dinner, silent auction, all kinds of prizes. Whole prizes, team prizes, bullseye event, you name it, we have it. Most of the people are repeat. They come back year after year because they have so much fun at it. And it's a best ball scramble, so you can be a lousy golfer and have a great time.
Nice. Hey, that's me. I'm a lousy golfer. Perfect. Sounds really good. I also said that you have, also understand that there's an annual awards banquet that's coming up as well. Tell our viewers about that. How can they take part?
That's it's Tuesday, April 26th. It's at the High Point Church out on Old Sauk Road. The recognition banquet is an opportunity for Mark to say thank you to the businesses who provide all the job opportunities for the folks with developmental disabilities. And a lot of the folks with the disabilities prepare the speeches and personally do the thank yous. There's also thank yous to just businesses who support Mark in general. It's a
Wow.
wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds great. So good luck with all of that, the golf outing, the awards banquet, and hopefully we can get that e-waste stuff taken care of as well. Gentlemen, thanks for being on.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Talk of the Town right after this. And back on Talk of the Town as we switch gears a little bit now and talk to Lindsay and Saras, who are here from the Publications Club. Is that right? I want to make sure that I get this right because we've had some discussion off the air. So tell us a little bit about Publications Club and what you're here for.
Publications Club supports publications on campus at UW-Baraboo County, and we're going to be throwing the launch party for the literary magazine on campus.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about that a little bit. What is that launch party? When is it happening? All of that kind of good stuff.
The launch party is happening on the 11th of this month, April 11th, and it's going to be at the theater at UW-Baraboo County, and there's going to be refreshments and live readings of contributions to the magazine and art on the display as well.
UW-Baraboo Sauk County seems like a long title. I've been told it's Boo U. Is Boo U?
Yes,
Right?
we call it Boo U.
We could just call it Boo U. So who's all involved in this event that's going on?
Usually the editors of the magazine take a major role in making sure that everything's organized, but we try to invite as many people, community members, even people who aren't in the community to the event just to try and get the artists who have submitted to Spirit Lake Review out there and acknowledged.
All right, editors of the magazine, that includes you guys?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, all right. Very cool. What's in the magazine itself? You brought a copy of the magazine. Yes. I don't know, you could probably hold it up there. So what's in the magazine itself? What are you guys putting out?
We do literature, short fiction, poetry, prose. We've even done some song lyrics and short screenplays, short plays. And then there's also art, photography, paintings. We have even had people send in pictures of sculptures and things like that. Mixed media art. It's really eclectic. There's a lot in there.
Oh, wow. And so now, is this all from Boo U students?
Actually, no.
No. Okay.
It's basically from people who are in the community itself.
Okay.
Typically what we do is we set parameters for where we're accepting submissions from and kind of try and stay in those parameters, but from time to time we may make allowances depending on what the needs are for the magazine itself.
Okay, so your event, it does seem to, I guess, cross over between the college and the community. So how do you guys involve both? How do you interweave those both together?
We do a lot of fundraising events because we do have to raise money for the printing costs. Last year, we raised an amazing amount of money with different events, and we were able to get perfect bound and glossy and full color pages, which we've never been able to do before, so that was really exciting. And we did just have a fundraising event called the Lip Sync Battle where we had local celebrities come in and compete, and all of the proceeds went toward printing costs.
All right, so y'all are making this kind of fun, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, I like it. All right. Tell us about the students that are all involved in this process then, too.
Typically the college students of UW-Baraboo, or Boo U. It's a class, literary magazine, and we're all just students who decide to take it. We have a very awesome professor, Kelly Dwyer. She's amazing. And she just gets these clumps of students who offer this awesome input into what they want in the magazine and what they think others will like. And it's always an interesting mix of people. Most people end up in there randomly, and it just kind of works for the magazine.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So we're talking about how basically it's not just the students, but anybody can kind of submit. How do people submit to the magazine? Where are they going to find it? Do they got to go online? How does that whole process work?
We do have a Facebook page for Spirit Lake Review, and a lot of people go there for information and contact us to get information on submitting. We do ask that everybody submits to a email that is spiritlakebooyou@gmail.com, and that all of the art and literature gets submitted there, and usually Saras is the one that sorts through all of that, and we vote anonymously so that the integrity is kept as well.
Okay, so once again, it's May 11th, it's a Wednesday night, and it's at the R.G. Brown Theater, that's correct?
Yes.
We got all the details right?
Yes, May
Okay,
11th.
Anything else you want to throw in there at the end? Something that I forgot to ask you?
We would love for everyone to come out and see all of the hard work that we've done. This is last year's volume that we did, and this year is going to be even better.
Excellent. Sounds like a lot of fun. Hey, you guys did great. Nice job. So we'll be back with more Talk of the Town. Hopefully you can make that event, by the way, and we'll see you on the other side of this right here on Channel 57. And back on Talk of the Town, and we are getting ready now to do something we don't normally do on the show, and that's Talk Dirty. It's going to be the dirtiest segment that we've ever had on Talk of the Town. I'm warning you now as we bring in Derek from Curbside Composting.
Hey,
See?
how's it going?
That's what's dirty about our segment, right? You got
Yeah.
to get down in the dirt a little bit to be a composter, right?
I do work with the soil.
Absolutely. So why should people compost? Simple question, right?
Yeah, well, our landfills are getting really full, and composting kind of diverts some waste from that landfill into the soil, basically. You make soil from it. So
Okay.
It's good for our gardens and our yards.
So specifically then, when we're talking about composting, why is composting good for the environment?
Well, compost contains nitrogen, it contains other fertilizers, but it also contains microbes, and the microbes benefit the plants. It protects it from bad microbes that could damage the plant roots, and et cetera. It's just good for the soil all around.
Absolutely. So now, how does your service work at Curbside Composter, and how much does it cost for someone?
Well, $5 a week. I provide you with a bucket. Basically, you save all of your organic waste in there instead of throwing it in the normal garbage. So, and then I divert that to school and community gardens where I make compost with it.
Okay, so you talk about organic waste. Is organic waste just from organic foods? What does organic waste mean?
Well, that's kind of what we call it in the industry. Organic waste just means anything that, you know, comes from the earth. A lemon, it doesn't mean organic produce necessarily, any conventional produce. Lemons, banana peels, you know, things that, food waste that you have. Paper towels, paper plates even, that you would normally throw in the garbage.
Okay, and now where does all this waste end up going?
To the school and community gardens where I compost that at. I mix their bins, and then the compost stays there at the gardens,
Okay,
benefiting them.
and then who ends up getting the finished product?
The school and community gardens.
It will stay all right there.
Yeah, it
Okay.
benefits the gardens and the soil there.
Okay, now what if composting is something, I know some people will do this around the neighborhood, they'll do it at home, they got their own compost going. What if I compost at home, then why would I need the curbside composter?
Yeah, that's awesome if you compost successfully at home. Some people live in an apartment building or a condominium, or they don't have the time or space in their yard to make their own compost. So I provide that service for them in that hole in society where it's kind of necessary.
Yeah, so composting in an apartment's a bad idea.
The people usually do it in their yard, right? I mean, you know, if you do it in the parking lot, you might have a rat problem or something like that, you know?
Right. As we go on, as society's progressing, basically, we seem to be greener, more local, trying to focus on these things more and more. Do you see like a renewed interest or a new interest for people in things like composting in community gardens?
Definitely. There's these compost pickup services popping up all over the country. I'm just one of hundreds of them, really, and one of 3 in Madison, actually.
Okay. Now what is some of the other things that you do? It's something with worms, isn't
Yes.
it? Okay, tell us what you do with worms.
Okay, so I have my whole entire basement is full of worms, basically. I have a worm farm down there, I raise worms. I sell them to other people that are interested in composting in that fashion. Every pro soil mix that you see on the market contains worm castings. They're very high in those microbes that we were talking about before.
So worms, if you have a garden of your own, something like that, that's a pretty important thing to have, isn't it?
Worms, exactly. Yeah, they leave beneficial soil microbes behind.
Okay, what are some of the other things that you do or services that you might provide too for people?
Well, if you're having problems with your backyard compost bin, it's not really working. You know, some people are throwing their food waste in there and 3 years go by and they still don't have compost. I'll come and show you what to do for a flat $25 fee. I can stir up your compost and make sure you are making compost within a couple of months.
Okay, so there's kind of a science behind it, isn't there?
There is, definitely.
Okay, good to know. If it's not working, we got our guy. So tell us, how can we find out more from you then, Derek?
Curbsidecomposter.com, or you can call me at 338-4798.
Okay, and a lot of the stuff you'll see on the bottom third then going as well. So we got through our dirty talk here on the show. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You bet. And thank you for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you next time right here on Channel 57. Bye-bye.